I need help with this. Given the following quadratic function, f of x is equal to -3, I'm assuming that's squared, minus 6x minus 3, find the vertex and the zeros.
Okay, that's a really good question. Some upper level math, but I'm happy to help you with that. So if you can cut to my screen, I'm going to show you a little bit of how to do this. So we wanted to find vertex and we wanted to find zeros. So it might help to know what both of those things are. So vertex, first off, if you look at the equation that was given to us, it is going to be a, because it's to the second degree, the shape of it is going to be a parabola. It's a quadratic function. So because of that, we're looking, so if it's the shape of a parabola, we're looking for that point, that vertex that's at the very bottom of, or in this case, the very top of our parabola. Now, to find the vertex, there's something called vertex form. So it's really helpful for us to have the equation in what's called vertex form. And vertex form, and I'm putting this on the bottom right of the screen, looks like this. So a times x minus h to the second power plus k. And our vertex is always this point, hk. And so if we can get our equation in this form, we can very easily see where our vertex is. So what we're going to do is get this equation in vertex form in order to find our vertex. So the first thing that we would do is we want to factor out any common factors of all of our terms. In this case, common factor we can see is -3 because -3 goes into all three of the terms we have here. So we're going to divide every term by -3, and what we're left with, our first term divided by -3 gives us x squared. Our second term gives us plus 2x, and then our third term is plus 1. So now we're closer to vertex form, but we aren't quite there yet. So what we would do is what's called completing the square. Now in this case, we don't have a square to complete, so we can actually talk about that on a back to basics later. But we want to get it in that form. So what we can do is factor this and find out, break it down to its factors. And when we do that, our factors are x plus 1 times x plus 1. Now, this form will help us later when we're trying to find our zeros. However, we want to make it in vertex form. So what I can do is because x plus 1 times x plus 1, we have two of them, I can rewrite it like this. And so now you can see that our equation is in vertex form. Our h is -1 because if we look over here, it's x minus h, and we have x plus 1, which would make our h -1. And then our k, well, really our equation says plus 0. There's nothing that's being added to it. So our k is 0. So our vertex in this equation is -1, 0. Now the question also asked for us to find zeros. What zeros are, they're solutions to this equation. They're also where the graph of the equation runs into the x-axis, or x-intercepts. So it's where if we set our equation equal to 0, and I'm going to focus in on this here, we want to know what would x or what could x be in order to make our y 0. That would be our y or our x-intercepts. So in this case, we could put in -1 for x, and if we put in -1 for x, it would make our y equal 0, or it would give us our x-intercepts. So the zeros of this equation are just -1, and it occurs twice. So zeros are -1, the vertex is at -1, 0, which if you think about it makes sense because the reason we'd only have 1, 0 is because our vertex is right on the x-axis. So I hope this helps. We'll go into a little bit more about factoring, and we'll go into a little bit more about vertex form and some back to basics to come. So I hope that helps though.